Okay, am I connected? It said trying to reconnect. Okay, welcome to Martini Time. This morning I did a talk, and then I found out when I looked at the iPad it didn't even make a connection, and then I found out my internet was off on my computer, and I don't know. So anyway, here we are. Happy Martini Time. So today. I have a lot of interesting conversations on my Facebook, and a lot of them really stimulate a question. And today the title of this talk is From Poverty to Abundance. And I'm looking at this big debate going on now between about this healthcare. And this is a shift in mythology here. It's not just about healthcare. It seems to be about more than that. And so I asked the questions about that. And it seems to narrow down to this, because my friends who are against Obamacare and universal health care and Medicare and any kind of care that has the government in it always come up with, well, we can't afford it. You can't give everybody free health care and free college. Of course, then that's kind of like the domino effect there. We love the domino theory. Well, if you give them health care, then that means free college, and then free this and free that, and then we all go broke. It's kind of like the domino effect. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So, but this whole idea, where does that come from? And it seems to me that you got two kinds of sons. And there's an inheritance. The father, maybe he was an industrialist and he made a lot of money. Maybe he was a Rockefeller or something. And he leaves his sons the money. And that's all you're going to get. So one son becomes a conservative. And he says, all right, I've got so much money. I'll invest it. I won't spend the principal because I can't make any more money. So I have to conserve, have to be careful, because there's no more money coming. I can't generate any more wealth, you see. This is it. I got to conserve it. So we'll have to do our programs and our plans according to how much money we can measure in the bank right now. See, so money becomes a commodity that you can measure. Now the other son, so the first son would be look at the world from poverty. I'm not making any more money, you see. I'm just making enough to keep going what I got, you see. But if I spend that, well, then that's it. So the other one looks at life more as an inexhaustible well. That if you use your money to serve, the money will be replenished, that you will create money. In other words, if you have an intention to serve, the end is service, the end is good for the whole, then the means will be provided, will be created. They'll come from unexpected places. And this is what creation is all about. I mean, look at our computers. I mean, before computers, you couldn't imagine it. And now computers are generating the opportunities for more computers. So it's a self-generating system. But when the intention is for total service, the philosophy or the paradigm of abundance is that intention will create will create the very world that it needs to achieve that agenda. And artists and athletes and the internet is full of stories of people who have an idea of service or an idea of winning the Olympics, and there's no ambiguity. They just know they're going to do it. And miraculously, the opportunities come. People give the money. It looks like random things happen. random things happen that provide the means, sometimes at the last moment. I remember a story about Swami Satchidananda. And he was in New York, and they had this Integral Yoga Society there, and they ran out of money. They didn't have money for the rent. They're going to be evicted. And people were panicking. And he was calm. And so a woman came to see him, and the deadline was 12 noon or something, so the woman came to talk to him. And before she said, "Oh, I have a need to write you a check," and so she wrote a check for the exact amount of the rent. See, the world abounds with stories like that. I think we all have personal stories like that. But the idea is that if your intention is for the good of the whole, the good of the nation, the means will be supplied. But the poverty paradigm is that the means won't be supplied, so you better save what you got, because you can't imagine how you could create more money or generate the unexpected. I think that's what it is. It's when the intention is unambiguous. That means it's not divided. Oh, should I do it? Or, oh, I'm afraid, Oh, I don't think it's going to work. Or, oh my God, what if we're doing it wrong? All that ambiguity. The unambiguous intention doesn't fail. Usually, it can fail, but the unambiguous intention is like the eye of a hurricane that pulls all the energy into it. Look at our country in the 60s. That's a good example of two intentions. We're going to the moon, said Kennedy, and by God we did in 10 years. The whole country mobilized with this idea of going to the moon. Like Ralph Crandom and Alice, you're going to the moon. It's been an ancient myth. Jules Verne, going to the moon. And so this is where we did it. In 10 years, you see. And we created the means on to do it. They didn't know how they were going to go, but they created the inventions they needed to go. I think that's what I'm pointing to. You create what you need in order to get to where you're going if you have an unambiguous intention. But if your intention is divided, well, then you're not going to get there. Or if you do, you're going to be all worn out and busted. But if the intention is divided, you can't generate the means to get there because they're counterproductive. You see, a divided intention is counterproductive. One arm wants to get there, and the other one says you can't get there, so you get this. I'm going, but I'm not going. And that's where we are now. So universal health care is like going to the moon. A single-payer universal health care is like going to the moon. But you can't get there on the money we got. So there's poverty and abundance right now. So the nation really is going through a loss of nerve, you see, because we're self-divided. Nothing will happen. We're not going anywhere, you see. Because it's a loss of faith in the American creativity. It's a loss of faith in America. Because America has always created new worlds, gone into the unknown, and created new worlds. The whole Western civilization, the whole earth, is benefited by America's creativity. You see. And all of that creativity was from an unambiguous intention to achieve something. An intention that is self-divided achieves nothing. And so if we believe in American poverty, then we're going to be poor. And this is the domino. There's two dominoes effects here. I'm watching Vietnam, And one of the theories that governed our war in Vietnam was the domino theory. You got a line of dominoes. Tip this one over, boop, 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 boom. All right. So Vietnam was fought because of a theory. And the theory was that since communism was trying to take over the world and destroy the individualism of America, which is what we are, individualism, then Vietnam would be one domino, then Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Burma, India, Middle East, boom. And so they draw the line there. Well, it didn't work out because it was up against an unambiguous idea of Ho Chi Minh. There were two ideas, LBJ and Ho Chi Minh. LBJ's idea had ambiguity in it. There was doubt. Oh, we can't win this war, but we got to try. We can't afford to lose. But I don't know. There's no military goal here. But we got to go. With Ho Chi Minh, there was no ambiguity, no doubt, no uncertainty. We'll sacrifice anything. And they did. And they won. A philosophy of abundance and a philosophy of poverty. And of course, LBJ is a paradoxical character because in his domestic issues, he was unambiguous. The Great Society was his unambiguous idea, and we achieved great programs that I've been afraid from, Medicare. You see, and all of these programs of the Great Society of LBJ that he got through Congress because there was no ambiguity there. He had a single vision, a single idea. But when it came to Vietnam, he was split, and that ruined us basically, because that split in our national will, it went like, you see, that's still going on today. The dominoes are still falling, you see. That mistrust of government. Government screwed us up in Vietnam. I don't trust it. Government's taken us to a phony war. I don't trust it. So that mistrust of government was the domino effect. It's still going down, you see. And then Reagan is elected. Don't ask the government to help. And even today, healthcare. Obamacare is government. You want to let them touch your healthcare? Nuh-uh. I don't trust the government. That's the domino. I remember in the 50s and before Vietnam, we trusted the government. Not that it's perfect, but I mean, there wasn't any ambiguity there. If the government wanted to go to the moon, we're going to the moon. If the government wanted to cure polio, we're going to cure polio. So there was this unambiguity, and that's a monolithic. It's a will of the country. But now our will is divided and doubting the very mechanism we need to get somewhere. You can't get anywhere without the government. Oh, you can make a business without the government, but you can't do anything for the whole nation without the government. You can do something for your state, for your business, you see. But then that is a whole bunch of different individuals. So there is no will that can unite all of the participants, you see. So it's kind of like Athens in the Greek democracy, where you just have a babble of senators. There's no federal government. There's no head. There's no vision. You see, it is just a bunch of voices. So this whole idea, this poverty and abundance, and I look at it personally too, because I have lived a life of poverty in the sense that I doubted myself. Self-doubt is poverty. Self-doubt is crippling. Self-doubt makes you dysfunctional. Self-doubt makes you go in circles. It's ambiguous. Am I this or am I that? I don't know, you see. Today I'm this, I got the, well, today that's no good yesterday. And then, I'm unambiguous about this. This is a great idea. The next day, it's got a few flaws. I don't think it'll work. So-and-so says it won't work. Well, it doesn't. So this unambiguousness is the heart, not the mind, because the mind sees things with two eyes, this or that, and we get caught up, well, they're both pretty good. I don't know which one to choose. We look at it as commodity. Well, what's the weight of the pros? Well, this one weighs 5 pounds of pros. This one has 10 pounds of cons. Well, we're going to choose this one. But they are mutually dependent, so I end up self-divided. The unambiguous idea has no division. It's a whole, it's a complete. And it usually comes full-blown. Ask Steve Jobs. He'd get an idea for the iPad or the iPhone or all that, and he wouldn't know exactly how it's going to be put together, but he would know it if he saw it, and so he would have his engineers keep coming. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Get out of here. That's not it. That's it. And the artist does that. They suddenly get a idea for a music composition or a piece of art or a composition or a story, and it just comes full blown, and then all they do have to just write it out, translate it into language or into dance or into a play. But there's no ambiguity in it. Any movie or play or work of art is unambiguous. So it's a complete whole. It's not two, it's a complete whole. So our nation right now is trapped in a period of ambiguity. Let's face it. But this is a transition to the unambiguous. This is a transition to a new whole, a new America that we don't know what the hell it is, because we haven't been there. Like the caterpillar does not know what the butterfly is, but it goes anyway. You see. So we're kind of like the cocoon right now. We don't know what's going on, but something's being born. Something's going to come out of this. It has to. Or we'll just self-destruct. In anger, just kill each other. People, the Civil War is coming. Yay! The rapture's coming. Yay! You impeach Trump, we're going to have a civil war. Yay! Get it over with. Everybody dies. Can't stand the tension of ambiguity anymore. Might as well just shoot ourselves. Can't create our way out of this. Poverty, poverty. We're poor, we're poverty. We've lost our abundance. It's all used up. It's all gone now. It's all gone. Might as well just sit there and watch TV and wait to die. It's all gone. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.